In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Hello dear friends, we are here with another session of the Toy 200 software tutorial. In this session, God willing, we will walk through a complete project and thoroughly explain the topic of skins, template design, or screens for you. To do this, we open the toy software and select a basic blank skin without any colors, so that we can go through the various elements of template or skin design one by one together, examine their features, and see how we can work with each of them. For this purpose, we need to define a project and apply our template or skin to that project. As I mentioned before, first we need to have a proper folder structure for the various items that we are going to use in the virtual tour project. For example, I have created folders for panoramas, photo albums, and a download folder where I have placed files that the user may need to download from the virtual tour. I have placed the floor plan and the required icons separately from the icon folder, and I have put the music or background audio or any sounds that I need to have in my panoramas and play in the virtual tour into a dedicated folder like this. I have also created a folder called Publish for saving the output files. This makes things easier for me. And a very important point is that once you have defined these folders, named them, placed the files inside, and created your project, afterwards you should not change the folder names or move the files around. The reason for this is that every time we want to run, edit, or export the project, the software goes to the original source, reads the file from there, and works on it. And if the first time you imported a file from a certain source, the next time the software will look for it in the same place. If the file is not there, it will give you an error, and then you'll have to manually search for the file and enter its location in the new folder yourself, which is why I recommend not doing this. Right from the start, define a clear structure for yourself, organize your folders based on that, and save your files accordingly. Get everything ready, and then start working on your project. Alright, now I'll go to the Panorama folder and load 3 panoramas into 3D Vista, and I'll open one of them so you can see. Today I want to prepare a virtual photo gallery for you. We've done everything completely, that is, we've defined the hotspots, imported the panoramas, and also designed the skin or template. Now we want to connect these elements to each other one by one. In this way, in front of these 3 photos, I have 360-degree panoramas that we want to connect to each other. These are photo 1, 2, and 3 in this order. So I select panorama number 1. From the panorama tab, I go to the settings tab. I enter the hotspot tab and drag panorama number 2. I carefully select an appropriate icon for it within this specific section. This particular one is quite suitable for the purpose, and I will also precisely place the corresponding return icon here as well, ensuring clear navigation. I adjust its position a bit and move it forward. I also place the third panorama here. In the same way, I define a return icon here in the third panorama. Like this, since this one is farther away, I make it smaller so that my perspective view looks more realistic. I go into the panorama. In panorama number 2, I create the necessary hotspots. Hotspot number 1, which was created automatically, and hotspot number 2 in panorama 2, like this. I create it. Again, I place the return here. And alright, I've created the hotspots in panorama number 3 as well. Since I had asked the software to automatically place the return back hotspots, I just go and adjust their positions. The rest has been set up automatically, like this. I'll go and get a preview of what I've done so far. panorama number 1, panorama number 2, and panorama number 3. And in the same way, the return, all right, up to this very point in time, there's absolutely no problem at all. I'll go to the photo album section and create an image album. In the photo album folder, I select all in album 01 and open them. My photo album has been created. I just set it to fit inside so that everything is shown inside the frame viewer. I'm not going to touch the rest of its settings. I'll also name it photo album 1, just like that. I've already explained the details in previous tutorials for you, dear viewers. And here I'm just going to quickly move this project forward so I can get to the main topic, which is about designing the skin. I don't have any video or 360-degree video. I also want to create a floor plan for this project, right? I'll go to the floor plan tab and I want to add the floor plan. But here I want to introduce a very simple software to you, dear viewers. So you can easily create a floor plan or that ground plan with it. You can use it for your own small and simple projects. You're either creating a virtual tour of an indoor space inside a building, or you're making a virtual tour of an outdoor area. It could be a natural setting or a place like a park that you're making a virtual tour of. So you either have the map of that place, or if it's a building, you need to have its floor plan. If it's an outdoor area, you can easily go to Google Maps, switch to the satellite view, select your area wherever it is, and basically take a screenshot of the map. Then you can place your panoramas within it. In 3D Vista software, with the help of the floor plan plugin. But if it's an indoor space, you'll have to create its floor plan yourself. In that case, you either get the floor plan or the map from the contractor, or you create it yourself using the general overview you got while photographing the location, and then draw the plan with the help of some very simple software. The simplest software we can use for this is Visio, which is part of the Microsoft Office suite. It usually doesn't come pre-installed with Office, and since it's not used much for general purposes, it actually has a lot of engineering application. Since it doesn't have general uses, it's usually installed separately from the Office software package, so you'll need to download and install it separately. All right, I'm going to open this software. I want to create a floor plan, so right from the start I select maps and floor plans. Since it's an interior view, I choose one of these options. Actually, there are two Office options, and one of them uses the metric unit. The other one uses the US unit. We'll select the metric one, and honestly, that initial choice isn't very important. If you picked another option, you can always come back to this section and change your selection. Now here I have a set of very simple tools at my disposal that I can use to quickly and easily create the floor plan. For example, I'll use one of these. Roomwell, this is an interior framework of a house, and you can easily change its overall dimensions like this. This allows for flexible and precise adjustments to the structure. You can change its length and width, and you can even modify these dimensions by entering the numbers directly here. So like this, I visually designed the room, and for the windows, there's a window option. If you have several windows, I can select the window option like this, and if you have multiple windows, I can place them next to each other by copying and pasting this option. But for now, I don't want to work too precisely. I just want to show you how you can create such a simple design with this software. All right, let's go ahead and add the other details to this floor plan as well. Let's go to the Office Furniture section and see what we have there. According to the features that we have in, let's see what we can find in our 360-degree panoramic image. I'm going to create these two chairs. If you remember, in our panorama, we had two chairs here like this. The paintings, there's a window at this end and another window at that end. So I'll add those to the plan as well. A large window is located at this particular end. And I'll also add another window at this particular end and then bring this one to the very front. Alright, let me see what I can put for these paintings. We had several paintings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had paintings on this side and two large ones as well on these two opposite walls. Alright, let me go to office equipment. Let's see what's there later. Okay, this one, something like a projection screen. This one looks more like a painting. Alright, I'll make it smaller to see if I can fit 5. 1, 2, 3, it needs to be smaller. One, 2, 3. 4. Okay, it didn't fit. I'll select them all. I'll move them a bit to the left so I can add one more here like this. I also had two large ones in this section. One is located right here and another one is positioned directly across from it. It is precisely situated exactly here. Alright, I've pretty much managed to prepare the floor plan for this photo gallery. I'll select everything. I'll press Ctrl+A. I select everything and let's see if it gives us a JPG output or not. If it does, right here I'll export as JPG, actually PNG, yes. I'll export it as a PNG. The settings are okay. Let's go see what we made. This is the floor plan that we designed with the help of Visio software. And now I'll close this so I can go and add the floor plan into the Toyota Ista software. Flora plan PN file. In this way, well, I'll quickly add my hotspots. One, 2, and 3. These are the numbers. Like this, I define an action for each one individually. Panorama O1 should open. Panorama O2 should open, and with the other one, Panorama O3 should open. This way I don't need to deal with the other settings. I just go and set up its radar. For hotspot number 1, I add a radar and adjust its direction to face this image. I make its size smaller, like this. For hotspot number 2, I add its radar and adjust the radar's orientation like this. Similarly, for hotspot number 3, I add a radar and set its direction this way. Alright, my floor plan is ready. Automatically, a floor plan view air is also created in the scan section so that I can view it, the floor plan, like this. When I go to the next image, you can see it like this. I can also go to the next image from here. Okay, let's continue. We've designed the floor plan and now we go to the Publish tab. We don't want our photo album to be in the playlist, so we select the photo album and uncheck the Include in Playlist option, like this. We define a title for our project. We won't write the art gallery description and author for now, so it doesn't take too much time. And that's it. Now, let's move on to the skin section. We have a floor plan viewer here. I'm going to delete this because I want to design my own floor plan viewer. And I don't need this one for now, so I'll remove it. Please note, the floor plan itself is still there. I just deleted its viewer. And later on, I'll create my own plan viewer. Now, we move on to the template or skin design section. As I mentioned to you in previous sessions, by skin we mean that we add a set of icons and symbols to our virtual tour, and we want the tour to perform certain actions when we click on them. Let me mute this so I can talk over it. Alright, take a look. These icons you see here, which are clickable, or this icon here that I can change so that the title of my virtual tour and also the text can switch to Persian or English, along with the other features available here. All of these are part of the skin or template of this virtual tour, which we want to talk about today and explain how we can design and configure them. However, my project today is a gallery design project for which I want to design and create a custom skin. Alright, I'll start from the left side. I will go through each of the elements that are here for you, one by one. From this section, I can import some of the available skins from the software's own library. In this way, it asks me whether I have created a custom design for the template, because if you want to import a skin or template from here, all the designs you've created yourself will be lost. Well, I don't want to go there and select a template, and I haven't done any custom design either. For now, I'll click yes to show you that it returns to the same initial page we always see when we first open the software. And here we can choose our desired skin. However, I want to design my own skin. In fact, as you can see here, there are a number of ready-made skins and there are some elements inside them. I have access to all of these elements individually in this section, MISSAG, which is short for miscellaneous. And I will explain to you in detail how it works as we go on. The next option is the save option. We can save the skin we have designed, and if we need a similar template in future projects, we can simply import our previous skin and make adjustments to it, so we don't have to design a new skin from scratch every time. So with this option, we can save our own skin. However, if you want to use that skin on another computer, we need to use this option to export the skin. The first option saves the skins on this very computer, and we can use them within this software on this same computer. But if we want to transfer the skin to another computer, we need to export it. With this option, save screen, we save the template file as a portable file, and we can use it later. It's better to set this option to responsive. If we want to design something specific for a monitor with certain dimensions, we can select it from the list. But if different people are going to view our work on various devices, it's better to set it to responsive so that as much as possible, it automatically adjusts the elements and their sizes for each device, allowing us to have the best possible display across different devices. The next option is the viewer option. Notice that this blue page you see here is a viewer page, and if I click here, you can see that I can grab it and resize it. It's a viewer itself, meaning it's a place where the tour is displayed. Look, now I'm going to make this smaller and go to preview to see what happens. You can see that what I see has become smaller. So my viewer has become smaller. Alright, I'll set this to maximum so it works better, and I'll set the width here to 100% and the height to 100% as well, so that we can cover the entire page this way. So inside this viewer, we can also have multiple other viewers to display different components of this tour. For example, for a photo album, you can have a separate viewer. For the floor plan, we can have a separate viewer, and to use it, it's enough to click on this and select the place where we want to put that viewer, like this. For example, I want to have a viewer in this section, and what should this viewer display for me? For example, show the photo album, or for instance, show the floor plan. I select the viewer and go to the photo album. I select the photo album, and in this section I set its viewer. I say display this photo album for me in viewer 2. Let's see whether it gets displayed or not. See, it displays each photo one by one for me in this viewer. It shows each one for 5 seconds according to the effect we defined for it, and moves on like this. Now I can do the same thing for the floor plan and say show this, the floor plan in viewer 2 for me. Well, as you saw, in this viewer it displays my floor plan that covers the topic of the viewer. I can even have both of them here at the same time, and in that case I need to specify when each one should play inside this viewer, which we'll get to later on. How you can design icons or buttons so that pressing them triggers different actions. I'll delete the viewer. I can either select it and press delete, or I can close it here by clicking this cross. The next option is the floor plan. If you don't want to design a separate view, you can directly design from a floor plan. In this way, this is also actually a viewer, but well, its name is directly written as floor plan view, and actually after defining this you can go into the floor plan and select it. Your floor plan will be executed in the floor plan view like this. This is also a shortcut method for designing a place to display the floor plan. Usually we don't do this kind of design, and we don't separately design a view just for the floor plan like this. Instead, we first consider a container. A container is designed like this, and inside this container we can, for example, have a floor plan. This is the floor plan, and sometimes we might not want to see this floor plan anymore. So we should have a close or exit button. We come here and add a close button inside this container. Now pay attention, after we created the container, a container file was created in this menu. We can double click right here and change its name. We can even name it in Persian if we want. For example, we can write floor plan. So inside this container there is now a floor plan viewer. There is one close button. So what else do we need? Sometimes we also want to have a title or a label. So I'll select this label and put it in this section. Now if you want to place different items inside a container and you want to arrange the items next to each other without any specific order, you need to select the container and set its layout to absolute here. That means I can place these icons wherever I want. Alright. I've written this in Persian as well, so it's clear. Now pay attention that in this mode the layout is set to absolute. We also have two other layouts, horizontal and vertical. If we select horizontal, the software will automatically arrange these items horizontally. That means based on their order from top to bottom, it arranges them from left to right. And if I want to change their order, I can also change it from here. I can also come to this section and change their order. From this section, well, the next option when we select the container in the layout is vertical. Now, pay attention. When we select absolute, there are no other settings available. But when we select vertical or horizontal, additional settings appear. And it asks which direction you want to align to. For horizontal, whether you want to align to the left, to the right, or center it, it says. Now what he means is how to arrange these next to each other one after another, and how much gap or space should be between them. For example, here it's 10. I can decrease the gap between them I can increase the spacing between them and also set their vertical alignment, whether they're aligned to the top, to the bottom, or centered. So in this particular way, I personally prefer to precisely set this specific option to the absolute setting so that I can accurately align and meticulously adjust them exactly the way I truly desire and need. Like this. Now I can take this text. Now this is a label, and actually this text is added with this label. I can go to the edit style section and apply my desired settings for the font size and other font options. And now I want this container to close when I click the close button. That is, at first I want it to be visible, and then by clicking this close button, my container should close. Alright, I'll bring it over and place it in this corner. And then I select the close button. I'll assign an action to it so that when we click this button, it will hide something. Which components should it hide? The container, the floor plan, and everything inside it. Take a look. We do it like this, and then we go and preview it. So at first the floor plan appears, and when I click this close button, I can see that the floor plan container is closed. So it's that simply. You can design whatever you want. I'll close this and move on. Next, I'll explain the different items to you, dear viewers. The next item is a web frame. With this option, you can display a website in your virtual tour. For example, I can enter my own website address. First, I load the website in the browser, and then I copy whatever is written in the address bar. Then in the TW22 software, I come to this section. After I create the web frame this way, I paste it in the insert URL section. And if I preview it, of course, right now I'm creating my tour on localhost. It might not display my website. Well, thankfully it showed up. In this section, we can see our website. It has other uses as well. I can even embed Google Maps in this section. For example, I open the Google website, the area I'm interested in, for instance, the city of Tabriz. For example, I select this location, or say Tabriz International Hospital, just as an example. Then on Google Maps, I can zoom in as much as I want, or maybe I just want the layers to only show the map. We don't want the satellite image. So I go to the layers and select only the map like this. Everything you see here is what you see. If you go to this section, share or embed map, and click on this embed map option, then copy this code like this. You can take it and paste it into the web frame of the TWB software. In this way, you can view the Google map of that location in your virtual tour. Let's wait a little. Yes, as you can see, you can now view the desired location here. All right, let's go back to the software. So now you're also familiar with the web frame. I'll delete it and move on to the next option. Text is where you can use this option to set a label for your virtual tour, or you can create labels inside the containers you make and the various elements you place in them using this option. In this section, you can change the text inside your label. You can set it in Persian or English and adjust its alignment to be centered or middle, either vertically or horizontally. In this section, you can change its dimensions and size. Keep in mind, these dimensions and sizes are relative to the container in which it is placed. If it's set as a percentage, or if it's in pixels, you can control its dimensions and size based on the pixel value. I will explain these other settings to you in more detail in the next sections as we continue with the design. And if you want to change its font or size, you can go into the edit style section here to change the background and its color. For example, here I create a black color If I right click, you will see that it will be deleted. So I left click here to create a black color like this. For its background, I'll also set its opacity to say half, and I'll change its font. This is just so that you can clearly see the significant changes. I will then proceed to adjust its overall size using this specific numerical value. Actually, I'll change it to 20 and make its color white so it's more visible. I'll make it bold, italicize it, and I can design a highlight shadow for it. And as for the other settings, which I won't go into, you can easily use them yourself. In this way, you can create a label, tag, or title. The next option is HTML text, which is a bit different from this. Is a simple label or text element. You can choose one of the various pre-designed presets that are readily available within the software application, and then proceed to meticulously edit it according to your own specific preferences and individual requirements. I will now select the very first one from the available options and carefully place it right here on the canvas. Now I can easily edit this document. First, I will change everything to right alignment since I want to write in Persian. Title, subtitle, and my normal text section. Alright, I'll delete this normal text and write the subtitle. For example, location title. And in this particular section, I want to carefully place this specific HTML text in the top corner of the virtual tour, so that whenever you move from one panorama, you will always see it. Whenever you move from one panorama to another, the name of that panorama is displayed here. These features are available in the 3D Vista software, and this is how we can use them. Keep in mind that Ctrl+Z doesn't work very well in this software, so try to work a bit more carefully. Also, these types of software usually have issues with Persian fonts as well, so be extra cautious when using Persian fonts, as it usually takes more time. Working with this software for Persian fontsive, we want the title of each panorama to be automatically displayed when we enter it. I use this variable option. I select this option. You can choose from various types of variables in this list. However, only the media title and media subtitle options are useful for me here, because the rest are related to e-learning. They are related to online education. They pertain to distance learning or online education, and I don't use those. I'm going to select media subtitle. I can also choose media title. Let's select media title first and preview our tour to see if it works or not. Okay, as you can see, I'm now in panorama number 1. The title is location 1. When I enter panorama number 2, the location title becomes 2. And when I enter panorama number 3, the location title becomes 3. So pay attention. In the panoramas, in your list, you had a title and a subtitle. You don't want to change the titles, but you can write some descriptions here for the subtitle. For example, I write sign number 1. For the next one, I'll write sign number 2. And for the last one, I'll write sign number 3. Now, I'll go into the template and change their variables to subtitle. And now let's preview it. Automatically, we're now in front of sign number 1, and by clicking this option, we can go to sign number 2, and in the same way to sign number 3. Alright, that's it for HTML text. Let me carefully resize it to keep it perfectly here. The next option is the image option. We can add our desired image either as a sticker or as an image that's fixed to the screen and doesn't move with the panorama. Go to the image option. and select our desired image. For example, I want to place this logo inside my virtual tour so that it's always in this corner. So I come here and place it right here. If we preview it, we'll see that my logo is now placed here and it's not related to my media. No matter which photo I'm on, my logo stays in this corner. Of course, I can do various things with this image. I can add an action to it. For example, when I click on this image, my website should open URL. Let's see if there's space for my website. Yes, we copy its address and paste it here. Okay, and we also check the use hand cursor option so that when the mouse hovers over this image, it turns into a clickable hand icon, letting the user know they can click it. The rest of the settings are related to alignment and sizing, which we don't need to adjust. Now, I move on to the next option, which is button. I select it. Right. As you can see, since I previous well, now that this window has opened, I clicked on the button option. This window that opened is showing me recent. It displays the elements or items that I have used recently, but I wanted to show me all the items related to this button option. It has brought up 3 text buttons for me, and I can use either all or text only from among them, which doesn't really make a difference. These are the software's default options available in its own library, and I can bring in any of them and edit them to fit my own work. What is a text button? Basically, it's a ready-made button where we can change its label in the edit style section, and we can define an action for it so that when the user clicks on it, something happens. For example, I want my logo to toggle when the user clicks on this. That is, when they click once, it disappears, and when they click again, it shows up. So I will go ahead and change its label from the edit style section right here. I'll write logo off for the normal state. So this is the normal state, meaning by default, my text button looks like this with these settings. I'm not going to change the settings. But what is rollover? If we select rollover, it means that when the mouse hovers over it, how should its color change? What changes should happen so that the user realizes this button is clickable and can perform an action for us? In this section under rollover, we configure the related settings. For example, here it says that the font color should change or the background should change, but here the background's opacity is set to 0 so that no change is shown and it remains transparent. I'm not going to change the rollover settings either. What is press? Press means when this button is clicked. So what change should happen when the button is clicked? Well, I want the text of the button to change to logo turn on when it's clicked. So in the press state, meaning when it's pressed, I'll change its text here, logo on. All right. Let the color stay black. And for press rollover, meaning when it's pressed and hovered over, let its color be the same orange as we have here. Very well. Now let's test it to see if our button works or not. So far, we've just defined its states. We haven't defined any action for it yet. Here we come and add an action for it. Show hide component. Which component? The image. Well, I can select this image right here, or I can come here and find the image. Name it logo and set it in a large font. It doesn't matter to you. Whether you write the name in Persian or English, it doesn't matter if it's capitalized or lowercase. Well, I named it. Now I want this button of mine to have some action. What should be the action? I added a toggle here. What? The logo until. So let's see if it works or not. Okay, look, it's been added in this section. Let me bring in a dark background for it so it can be seen. All right, as you can see, my push button has been added here, and when the mouse hovers over it, its color changes, it gets a hover effect, turns into a hand, and I can click on it. I click on it and it works. Well, my logo disappeared, but there's a problem. Look, the logo itself is still off. When I click, the logo turns on, but as soon as I release, it turns off again. It works, but the on-off state itself doesn't change. The reason is that we also need to set the state or mode of this push button itself to toggle, meaning it also needs to be toggled so its state changes. Now let's see if it works in the preview or not. Okay, right now the logo is off, meaning if we click on it, the logo will turn off. I'm clicking on it. Sorry, the error that it gave to us, which we completely ignored at the time, was clearly saying that its actions would be removed from the system. Let's add the action once more. Let it toggle the component. Let's proceed with this approach and then carefully preview the results. Now it should work correctly. Right now it's on logo off. If we click, we want to turn the logo off. We turn the logo off. Now it's on logo on, and if we click on this, it becomes logo on. This way the logo turned off again, and as you saw, we were able to do this correctly. And that's that. For the next option, let me put this below so it stays there. Let it stay beside it. I'll move it a bit to the side because the logo itself has the website link, and clicking on the logo opens the website. The next option is the icon button option. There are multiple icon buttons available in the software, and if it is indeed needed, we can certainly use this existing library, carefully select these specific elements, and then effectively utilize them within our project. However, it is also entirely possible for us to create and implement our very own custom icon button, providing us with more flexibility and control. How do we do that? Let's create an icon button here so we can see how we can make one ourselves. Let's make our own icon. For this purpose, I'll introduce another very simple software for you. And that software is PowerPoint, which makes it really easy for us to create icons. The first and simplest thing to do is to search for the icon on the internet, meaning we open the internet, and for example, if we want an icon for location, we type location.png and various icons will appear for us, and we can choose whichever PNG file we like, and if the PNG file is available, we can download and use it, and if we don't want to, we can design it ourselves in PowerPoint. But I have already downloaded the location icon. It's a transparent PNG file, and now I want to edit it in PowerPoint. My PowerPoint file is ready, so I open it and drag my icon into the PowerPoint file. Okay, so we have a normal state for this icon. One state is just the icon itself, and we want to define a rollover state for it. That is, when the mouse hovers over it, its color changes. And a press state, meaning we define a compressed or pressed look for it. When the user clicks on the icon, how should its color change? So I want to create these three states for it now. This is the original icon itself. I'm going to make a complete copy of it. For the first two copies, I will proceed to change their color right here, for example, making it appear faded, much like this particular example. When it's in the rollover state and when it's clicked, again, I'll go and change its color, for example, make it green. All right, now I'm going to save this one by one. I use save as for this icon and set the address to where I want it to be saved. I paste it here, and this is for its normal state location. This one is for the hover state. I save it, and the second option is for the selected state. Selected Alright, now let's see how we can effectively use these with the icon button option. Let's bring in the button and then use it. I will go to this section, import the location icon and then place it here. Okay, this is a button and it works as a push button. That is, when you press this button, something happens. A window opens up, actually a frame opens up. I can also change this to toggle mode. If I switch this to toggle mode, then it behaves differently. Basically, that's the mode where you click on it. The state of this icon changes and it stays in the click state, but if it's in push mode, its state changes with each click. But when you release the click, its state returns to this icon as it was. I'll show you exactly what I mean when we run it. I'm going to create a container very quickly and simply. I'll put a web frame inside it and I'll add a close button for it. Inside this web frame, I will embed a Google map by utilizing its URL address, which will allow for the display of geographical information. Like this. Okay, for the close button, I'll set it so that when it's clicked, it hides something. What does it hide? This latest container. Okay, it's better if I give each container a name. For example, here I'll name it map so that when I want to close or show it, I know exactly which container it is. Now, as you can see, the close button hides the map. Here I can also add an effect to it. Look, I can tell it, for example, to slide to the bottom. Okay, and then I come and grab this container. I select this container, move it, and place it here. When I click close, it slides down. And now, for this specific icon, I will proceed to name it the location icon. Location. Okay, I'll hide this map. First, I say what action should the location icon perform. It should now clearly display the interactive map this time, complete with the exact same smooth slide up from the bottom effect. Alright. Let's see if it works or not. Next, let's do the rest of its settings. Okay, now this is my map button, like this. It slides up from the bottom. Hopefully our map link will work too. Yes, to close the map, we need to press the close button. Alright, let's see if the close button faded out. Let's open the container again. Let's check the effect of the close button. Yes, the effect here is fade. And we'll set this as a slide button so it matches. Let's work on this button. Let's go to edit style. I'll change the rollover state so it becomes lighter like this. And I'll change the press state so it turns green. Both the rollover and press states are green. Now let's see how our icon changes state. So when I roll over it, you can see it becomes lighter. You can see that if I bring the icon with its background like this, it gets lighter, and when I press it, it turns green and works. In this way, the map appears, and by clicking close, the map closes. It's that simple. Now, what's the difference here between the push and toggle options? As I mentioned, when we select toggle, the icon stays in the selected state. Now let me set it to toggle. It says we need to add the action again. I'll click OK, and in the edit style, you can see the press state is green, and now if you click on it, it will probably stay green. Let me go and add its action so that when you click it, it shows the map with a slide effect. Let's preview it and see how it works. Okay, the hover works correctly. When I click, you see it stays green. The map opened. I'll close it. If I click again, it turns black. You see. If I meticulously select one for the pressed rollover state as well, then in the specifically selected or the actively pressed state. It will also consistently exhibit a noticeable hover effect, providing clear visual feedback to the user. Like this, see it's green. When I hover over it, it gets lighter. Well, this is the state for buttons that aren't supposed to toggle. See, here we wanted it to turn on and off. That means we can write some text here, map on, map off. Well, we can use this same button here, but when we're using this icon or shape, toggling doesn't make sense anymore, and it's better to select the push mode. In each state, we also need to go and add the action to it again. So the next option is the button class, which you can add here. Here I add a button class, and in the edit style section, you can set its color, its size, how it looks in the rollover state, and in the press state, that is when it's clicked. How should it look when it's clicked? And how should it look in the rollover state? That is, if its state is toggle and it's supposed to change state, how should it look? You can adjust these settings, which we've used several times before, so you already know what it's for. The next option is the progress bar. Well, this option isn't used much here. I'm just introducing it to you. Look, let me load the virtual tour in the browser once, and I hope I can show you the progress bar there. Of course, I mean, that specific progress bar, look down here, you see a blue line filling up, and then your tour opens. Let me preview it again. I'm holding down the shift key. I click so it opens in the browser. If you look down here, a blue line fills up, showing that your tour is loading in the background. Well, that's also called a progress bar, but it's different from the progress bar we have here on the screen. The progress bar we have on the screen works in the same way. It shows, for example, what percentage of the media has loaded, or how many photos have been viewed in the photo album, how many are left, and it can show us the progress of the operation. It can even show regression as well. For example, you've seen in games that when you're playing and your health is running out, you keep losing. When your health runs out, it goes backward, and this progress bar drops to 0, and you get a game over. Well, that's also a type of core progress bar. So where is this progress bar used? It's mostly used in e-learning and LMS systems where this type of progress bar is utilized. So here I just mentioned it for introduction, and for now it's not really applicable to us here. We can also turn this same progress bar into the one we saw down here. That is, we can come and select this section. It says apply to main viewer. Well, if we select the main viewer and, for example, put this up here, we can also change its style. For example, its background can be white, its color, it can be red. For instance, show the progress in red. Well, when we select the main viewer, it shows us the progress of loading the panorama, like this. You saw that it loaded quickly. But well, we don't really need it. In the 3D22 software itself, in the loading section, we already have a progress bar, and there we can even customize it and change it however we like. Of course, I haven't explained that yet. I want to talk about it at the very end when I get to the publish tab and the loading section. That's where I'll explain the meaning of the progress bar, which is actually in this part to you. In fact, this edit progress bar is the same progress bar that appears at the bottom of our virtual tour. See, this part existed here before I added that progress bar. We could edit it through that method. Let's go back to the screen and delete this progress bar. Before I delete it, notice that you can apply it to different modes for elapsed time, remaining time. You see, all of these are related to quizzes that exist in e-learning, again in the publish tab within e-learning. And when we create a quiz, they become active and we can use them. So for now, we won't cover this here and we'll move past the progress bar. I'm going to delete this. The next option, the core tab option, can have multiple uses. When we select it and click here, it creates some default settings for us. I'll select one of them. I'll choose this last coffee one and select it. In this section, I wanted to create the tab for me. We have a page with several tabs, and in each of these we can add any description we want, a viewer, or we can put a container in each of them. We can put a viewer inside it. We can put media and a website inside it. We can add a web frame. Everything we've done so far, we can also do inside these tabs, which I'll go through one by one. For example, let me show you a detailed sample project directly from that specific tab so you can fully understand exactly what I mean and how it functions. If I bring up the Comprehensive Health Assessment Center, you will gain a clearer perspective. So in this section, you can see that I've added a tab for this center and the various services offered at this center. Now, since it hasn't loaded yet and my internet is a bit slow, it's going to take a while for these to load. For example, you can see the medical services that are offered at this center actually. The fonts haven't loaded yet, otherwise it would look different. As you can see, it's taking some time, but fonts are gradually loading and you'll be able to see them. There are different tabs, and in each one we have a photo album. We have some descriptions, as well as some titles and details, so you can use the tabs in this way. This was just a sample project that I wanted to show you to demonstrate how it can be used in creating a virtual tour. But as for the settings here, if you come down to this section below, we can change its style. We can change the color, shadow, font, dimensions, and sizes. And furthermore, we can adjust its layout. We can increase the number of these tabs by clicking this plus option, or you can decrease them by clicking these. In each tab, we can change the text or the title of that tab. You can place the position or location of that tab on the side here. You can put it on the right side like this, and right now, for example, it's on top. If you set it to bottom, it moves down, or if you set it to right, it moves to the right section. If you set it to top, we can also invert its alignment. For example, for Persian fonts, we can place it on this side to make it easier to select, and we can adjust its size dimensions like this, making it bigger or smaller, and other settings, such as whether we want the scroll to be visible or not, or for instance, whether it should be in rollover mode or always on. You see, sometimes we write a lot of text and it doesn't fit in this tab, so for the user to be able to read the text, they have to roll over here. That is, they have to scroll down to read the text. At that point, do we want the scroll bar to always be on, or should it only appear and become visible when the mouse hovers over it so the user can scroll down and read the rest of the text? We can configure these settings here, but I won't go into more detail about them. There's a lot of material, so I'll skip over these as well. The next option is the drop-down option, which allows me to have a drop-down list by selecting it. There are various presets available within the software itself. I'll choose one of them and explain it. There are different colors. I'll pick one and create a drop-down list here. After I create the list, I can click to change its name, and I can set an action for it so that when it's clicked, certain things happen. Some options can be hidden and some options can be shown. We can change its style, its color, its highlights and shadows, its hover state, its selected state, and the color of the selected item C, and also which elements can be selected within it. For example, I don't want all the media or elements to be selectable in it. I customize it, I personalize it, and I want to choose myself. For example, I only want panorama number 1 and panorama number 3 to be included in it. Select all selects everything. Unselect all deselects everything. And then I select the first and third options, hit done, and let's preview it to see how it looks. Well, through this drop-down list, I can see the available options. I can only select options 1 and 3, and the selected state is shown in bold. If I select 3, you can see that option 3 becomes bold like this. And I could have changed all of these in the edit style section. For example, in the selected section, I could have made its background darker. The font is already light by default. I'll make the font yellow so that the change is more noticeable. Now, if I go to preview, you see that if I select option 3, its font is yellow, its background is completely black. And that's it for the drop-down list. I'll close this. Next is the thumb list, where I can create a list of the thumbnails I've defined for different media. There are various types of lists here: circular, square, horizontal, or vertical. I'll just pick one of them, for example, this particular one, just to clearly show you in detail exactly how it is created and how the process works. This way, I can conveniently come back here anytime and precisely choose which specific thumbnails are prominently displayed. So by simply clicking on them, you can easily and directly access that particular media content. I'll select custom, click on select, and this time I'll choose all of them. Let's see how we can change it. I'll bring this one down here as well. I'll preview it. Now, if I select the photo album, it will show the pictures one after another in my main viewer. If I select floor plan, the floor plan will appear. And likewise, if I select panorama, it will show my panoramas. Let me mention one more point here. For your information, you see in the display order, the element that is last will be shown to everyone. You see right now my location button is above my thumbnail list. So the thumbnail list is lower in this list. It's positioned lower here on the side. So the thumbnail list comes over the location element. And if I move this on top of it, I won't be able to click on the location anymore. See, like this, I can no longer click on the location and the button doesn't work. And the opposite is also true. If I take this location and move it down here, so I will carefully copy it from this location and then paste it into this designated spot. It had actually moved down, but I thought it hadn't. Now, since the location is below the thumbnail list, I can click on it and not on the item behind it, which is the thumbnail list. See, now I can click on the location and I can do so in these areas. But if this element was behind the location, I wouldn't be able to click on it. I'll delete this thumbnail list as well. And let's move on to the next element to see what it is. All right. The next element is miscellaneous, which is actually abbreviated as MISC and is located here. Basically, it means various, diverse, or other. That's what it means. Other elements or features that the software has are placed in this section. They had put the important ones here and the rest are placed here. So these are also included in this section. In other words, everything that's here is also available in the miscellaneous section. I'll click on this, and now in this section I'll go through each item one by one and explain them to you if necessary. Well, all media has listed all the available features here. It's better if I go through them one by their titles. Button set, as I mentioned, is a section where we had various buttons that we could combine to perform certain tasks for us. But in this button set section, these combinations are already prepared and available here. Now I'll select this option and place it here in this section, bringing it up and positioning it in the middle so we can see how it works. What does it mean? With the help of these buttons, we can control the panorama. That means by pressing this button to the right, by pressing this button upwards, and so on, we can automatically view the panorama. By pressing the plus button, we can zoom in, we can pause, we can activate autoplay, and then in the same way we can resume autoplay. And as you can see, with this button we can zoom out again. So this button list can provide us with a ready-made list of these buttons that we can work with. I don't need the button list. I'll delete it and move on to the next features. Menu. Various menus have been designed and are available here. All right, and I can use this. However, I can also design my own menu. Now you've learned enough to just create a container, and then inside the container add some text buttons or clickable icons so you can make a menu. Well, I'll choose a ready-made menu from here. For example, I'll pick this last one, travel greener, real estate blue. I select it and place it in this section. It automatically stuck to the top. I want to move it down. I don't need this location anymore, so I'll delete it. I don't need this map either, so I'll delete it. I bring the menu I created, attach it to this floor, and I want to use it. Now look at this menu. It's a container that's been given a name, meaning at first its name was container, and then the person who designed it named it menu. I can change this, for example, I'll make it something else. My menu, all right, there's a prominent white line inside it. This particular white line, this very distinct white line, can also be conveniently accessed and utilized from within the comprehensive skin library of the advanced 3D based 2 software application. Or you can even draw a white line yourself in PowerPoint, meaning just draw a line and choose white as its color. Then save it in this same directory, for example, set its color no. This color is fine. A white line, I'll save it as a PNG. And now I want to add that color, or rather that line, as an email. I just want to show you how we can import white line into the 3D Base 2 software. As you can see, I was able to import a white line into the software as an image, and now I can name it white line again. So I've created this white line here in the same way, and we're using it now. All right, so in the menu we were going through and checking what things are in it one by one. So there was a white line. The main menu itself was a container that had 3 sections inside it. One was the white line, another was the bottom set, and the bottom set container, meaning there's another container inside the main container. In this way, the bottom sets are placed inside it along with this VR icon. That is, the VR icon is placed inside this one. See, all of these are subcomponents of the main menu. So if I close these, all of them get hidden. When I open it, these 3 open up. And when I open this as well, you can see that in this way, whatever is inside the bottom container becomes visible to me. So we realize that this bottom icon, the VR bottom icon, is not a subcomponent of this section. It's not a subcomponent of the bottom set container, but rather a subcomponent of the main menu container. All right, let's go and see one by one what things are inside these. There's a house info button here. We can change its name because right now we want to create a gallery. We'll name it gallery info, meaning when we select it, we come down and change its label. We need to change it in edit style. Here I name it gallery info and close it. Next is the panorama list, which we need in the same way. We have location and floor plan. We have photo album, but we don't have real tour, so we'll delete it. We don't need it. We'll come here and delete it from this section. Is that simple? Any of these that we don't want, we just click the X here and delete it. All right, let's skip this for now. We need to assign an action to each of these. For example, for the photo album, we need to assign an action so that it opens the photo album we had. But first we need to design its viewer and container. I'll go through each of them one by one for you. I've already explained the all and menu sections. Now I'll talk about the contact section. Here you go. I'll select one of these. For example, I choose this option. Basically, it wants to create a template for us where we can provide information, neither contact details or general information needed for this virtual tour. All right, I'll create this template here. Here, this is the contact info section. This is the text that's currently written here, but I want to change this particular text to gallery info. So I can just simply click right here inside of it and then proceed to edit this specific section. Gallery info. I'm not going to touch the other parts. For now, I don't want to enter any specific information here. I just want to show how we can do this. In this section, we can enter the information for our own gallery exhibition, whose artworks they are, from what time period, what the prices are, and so on. And finally, in this section, I can add some buttons or icons so that if necessary, after reading this information, the person can contact me. How would that work? For example, I can put an icon here instead of this book now. I can delete this and add an icon so the person can call me. What do I do? You go to the icon section. From this part, I bring in the call icon. I append it and click next to it so it appears beside the other one. Now, notice that this icon is a bit large in size and it appears like this inside the container. So I'll make it a bit smaller, but as you can see, I can't really create this icon properly right now. Why is that? Because this container that I have here, and in order for us to be able to, these are all inside the main container, which is this container. Now, this button is actually completely independent from that. And also, which container are these in? They're in this other container. Where did it go? The global context is in the global and it's in the right as well. Let, which is also in the right. Let's scroll down. There's a text container and this space container, which just creates an empty space. This container has text. Now under that, there are some elements that are aligned vertically. So should I change this alignment to absolute so I can properly place this icon here? Or instead of this alignment, should I add another container here and then define these icons inside it? The best thing to do is to create another container here like this and then drag this icon into that container. Just like that. Okay, my container has been created here. This is the container. All right, I don't need this book now for now, but I'll go ahead and put it inside this container like this. Now inside this container, I have two buttons. I'll align this horizontally. I'll set its layout to horizontal so that these, well, its size became really small. It became 1 pixel, so I'll make it 20. Now let me explain how to optimize this. I'll make it 50. All right, pay close attention to these. Let me add two more icons here. This way, for example, I can also add WhatsApp and Instagram contact options. WhatsApp is enough, so I won't add Instagram. I'll delete this last icon. And now, since their size is large and they're not being displayed here, I don't know which ones these are right now because I haven't labeled them either. So I don't exactly know which is which for now. So I'll keep this one and I'll just work with this container. We said that all of these are part of this text container. Inside this text container, there's a header. There's a container that actually contains a line, or a container that's just there to create this line. His background is set to black to make this line, and there's an HTML text. So we have 2 or 3 main things. There's also a spacer container down here, which I'm going to delete. Basically, it just creates an empty space here as a gap. Since space is tight, I'm going to remove it and not use it. Okay. So my HTML text is taking up a large part of this container, its size and dimensions. So for example, I'll allocate 60% of it to this HTML text. What does that mean? It means I'm saying its height should be 60% of this main container as a percentage. That leaves 40%. So out of that 40%, I'll give 10% to this bottom container. I'll convert this to a percentage and say 10% is yours. And what else did we have? The header container. How much is left? I'll give 38% to this header container and the remaining 2% to this container that was just creating this color. It might be too much for it, but yes, 1% should be enough. And I'll give the remaining 1% back to this last container. I'll set this to 11%, and in terms of width, I want this container to be 100%. I want its width to be fit. All right, now let me go inside this container itself. This new container I created has 2 buttons inside it. I want each of them in terms of width in terms of width, each one should take up 50% of the container space. In terms of height, they can use 100% of the space. That's perfectly fine. The next button also takes up 50% of the width and 100% of the height. So now you can see that the two buttons have appeared with these settings I applied. So based on the dimensions and sizes we have, we set the percentage share for each of them, and in this way we can place the buttons next to each other. Now we can even align the buttons in the container we created to the left. They are left aligned by default, and align them to the top. We can also reduce the gap between them so they get closer together, like this. Now we're supposed to click on these buttons to perform an action. Let me add the Instagram button to this container as well so I can show you its code too. I'll go here again for you. I'll place the Instagram button here. But since the other two were 50%, it's better to set all of them to 33%. So how much space should this button occupy? In terms of percentage, 33% width and, well, 100% height. The next button should also be reduced from 50% to 33%. The following button as well, 33%, which adds up to 99%, and that 1% doesn't matter. Okay, the order of these call, WhatsApp, Instagram, mic can change their order like this. Call can come to the middle, or call can move left field. Okay, I want the person, by clicking on this call button, to be able to directly call the owner of the virtual tour if they're viewing this virtual tour on their mobile device. What I need to do is assign an action to this button, and that action should be a URL, open URL. Now, as you can see, there's a guide provided here. If your URL action is supposed to open a website, you should enter the website address here, meaning you need to insert HTTPS. If it's supposed to send you an email when clicked, you need to write this phrase here. Mail to your email address. If it's supposed to call you, just write tell followed by your phone number, and that's your relative URL. Now, any other URL or link you have in mind, you can enter it here. So all I need to do here is write it according to the instructions. What? Till. I meticulously write till, and then proceed to input my complete and accurate phone number. First and foremost, after the tell designation, you are required to precisely enter the appropriate country code for your region. Subsequently, whatever your full and entire phone number is, you must enter it completely and thoroughly into this designated section. Once all the necessary digits have been accurately entered, you then simply click the Done button to finalize the entry process. In the same way, for Instagram, for example, if you want someone to be taken directly to your Instagram page by clicking this button, I had put the link here. For Instagram, you can copy this link. In this URL, it's https://www.instagram.com/your-id, or the person's ID, then another slash, and that's it. Alright, in the same way, for WhatsApp, you can also enter this code. Add action, open URL, v, https://wa.me/number. You enter the phone number that WhatsApp is registered with, and if you set these up, when displaying, look, if I preview it now, if I click on WhatsApp, it will probably say that such a page doesn't exist because the number I enter is fake. Otherwise, if the number was correct, it would go straight to see, not found. If the number was correct, it would be redirected straight to that WhatsApp page. And that's that. We managed to create a contact information page. Now, we don't want this page to be visible right from the start. So we'll go ahead and hide this contact page at the beginning. Okay, so once it's hidden, how do we show it? All we really need to do is simply add an action to this particular text button. We want to make it make it clearly show the desired content. The contact page, done. Let's go to preview. Okay, if we click on gallery info, this page opens up. We read the information. You can use these links. With this button, we can close it. It's that simple. All right. Let's continue and go over the various items that are here. I've already mentioned the contact section to you. Let me go through them in order. I might get a bit scattered though, but I'll go forward in the order they're listed here. Dual Viewer is a new feature that has been added to the Todo Vista software, and it can be useful in certain situations. For example, in interior design, if you use the split option, you can display the before and after of the design space. For instance, I select this split and apply it here on this page. Okay. Split viewer. And now let me go here to Panorama. For Panorama number 3, I'll make another copy of it and then go to the second one to make some changes in the hotspot. For example, for the second one, I'll add a photo to it. I'll put a different photo on it. In the photo album section, for example, I'll simply drag this particular photo right onto it. I'll select free mode so I can adjust its corners. I just want to make a change compared to the other panorama so you can see the difference. Alright, let me add another photo to this one as well. Now I'll go to the screen. In dual view or split view, I want the right side to show the edited panorama, the one with the flower, and the left side to show the original panorama, or the left side can be before decoration and the RR right side after decoration. So I'll import the left side first. When I click in this viewer, you will see that a new section appears down here. Open Panorama in its action menu. I click and select my panorama. This way the previous panorama done, and on the right side double click in this section. I select the panorama in this section, select it, then let's go to preview like this. Now if I rotate the panorama to these two photos that I edited, you can see the changes here. You can see it. Pay attention to this photo or pay attention to this one. You see it changes. On the right is after editing, on the left is before editing, as you can see. We can even move the middle line. This can have many uses, and you can implement various ideas with these features. For now, I'll also hide the split view so it doesn't show. Maybe I'll use it again later. Next, let's see what other items are left after the dual viewer. Another option that dual viewer had was that it would display two panels side by side as twins. This means that in each of these we can simultaneously show two separate panels, and I won't go into it further. The next option was floor plan, which has different views and various templates available for floor plans. I select one, bring it here, apply it, and I can make edits here. However, I just go here to the floor plan, and actually there's nothing I need to do. The name of this viewer is actually floor plan. All I need to do is go to the floor plan tab. Here I need to select the viewer in which it will be displayed. In the floor plan you can see there are multiple viewers here. Well, since I currently have multiple viewers in the screen, I've designed them, so I select the floor plan and then go to the screen and hide it. So how do we activate it? How do we show it? By clicking this floor plan option, I go to add action, check show component, and select show. Which component? The floor plan one, done. Let's preview to see if it works correctly or not. The floor plan, I apologize. Yes, the floor plan is indeed working correctly. Let us now continue with the class session. There's the info window, which, just like the contact page, lets us create another page for information. We can use one of these templates, but for now I don't need it. I'll go to location and select a template for the location. I come here. In my location, I have a frame. In this section, I need to embed the map address here. There's a default map here, so I'll delete it and then get the desired URL for my own map from Google Maps and paste it here. This way, I can edit the address, the location title, and so on in these sections, its font, its size, and so on. And I'll close this. This should also be hidden. When should it appear? When this text button is pressed, add action, show location. I can also set its effect here, but I'll leave it without any effect. Continue. There's a panorama list that we have. We want to create a panorama list here. Very simple list. I use a template and customize my thumbnail list here so that in this section all media isn't included. For example, only these first 3 media items will be in it, just like this. This particular element should also remain completely hidden from view until this specific text button is clicked. You can clearly see we are also able to perform this action on a roll-on or a rollover event. For example, let me set this to show on rollover, the panorama list, and in this case, when the mouse hovers over that button, the panorama list appears. See, when I bring it here, the panorama list automatically appears. There's no need to click. Next option here, there's a photo album, and again I select a photo album from this template. Designing these is a bit of a hassle, and it's better if you work with them and customize them yourself. Alright, so I'll select this one as well. I can change the rest of its template options. These buttons have already been embedded here and their corresponding actions have been added. You can see its action has been added in this section. Media control. Look, if I click on add action now, there's an option here, media control. By selecting that, you specify which media you want to control and how. Here, the media control is actually set to next photo. So for any photo album that's playing, if you click on this, it will go to the next photo. There are various options available that you can choose from depending on what you want to do. That button will appear nicely for you on your viewer. And in this section, let me check this first. Let me check what the name of the viewer is. Photo album viewer. I'll go into the photo album and assign its viewer to it. 30 viewer. Photo album viewer plus text. I think that's the one. If I'm not mistaken, let's check there. Yeah. The name is photo album viewer plus text. That's how it's written, and we've selected it. Now let's see if it displays automatically or if we need to assign an action to it. Let's hide this. Photo album add action. Show photo album down. Let's go to preview. Photo album. Okay, the images didn't show up here. What we need to do is come here and show it. We assign an action to this viewer to simply open the photo album. To open the album, we select this album. On show means when it appears, display this album in this viewer. Down. Alright, now this will work. Let's hide it. Let's preview it and click on the photo album. As you can see, the photos are displayed for us in this order, and with the effect we applied. That's how you add a photo album. Next option is settings. We have two templates for settings, although we can also create these ourselves. I'll select this one and place it here. Bring it up like this, move it to this side. What does it do? There are a number of operators that are useful. Usually when viewing a virtual tour, see, when the settings option is clicked, this bottom set appears. And for example, if we're viewing on a phone, by tapping this, we can activate the phone's gyroscope and view our virtual tour by moving the phone around. Or by tapping this speaker icon, we can mute the background music. Or with this option, you can turn off the hotspots, remove them, and watch without any hotspots. With this option, it can go full screen, and in the same way, we can share it on Twitter or Facebook. This virtual tour, you can add various other icons here, or you can remove some. Let's go and preview it. Notice that it will be different. This button is for mobile mode and general mode. Well, right now we're using it on a computer. As you know, computers don't have a gyroscope, so the gyroscope option isn't shown here automatically. If you view it on a mobile device, the software will automatically detect whether the device has a gyroscope or not. It will then display the gyroscope option here. Now pay attention to these hotspots. By clicking this option, the hotspots will be hidden. Or by clicking this option, it will go full screen. With this option, you can turn the music on or off if there is any in our virtual tour. And this is the settings. The next option is the sticker. You can add a text or a note as a sticker to your virtual tour, attach it. In this way, you can bring the same title and enter it in this section. Text. If it's in HTML text format, let's carefully consider and see if we can effectively edit it or not. Number. Because it's in label form, we actually can't put a variable on it. In this way, we can also add a sticker. I'll delete this sticker. We don't need it. And the last option is text, which is actually the same HTML text we talked about before. And here you have an example of it. You can enter it and then replace it with your own text or content. You can change its style and so on. We'll skip this as well. And with that, the poster design discussion is almost finished here. There's just one very important point left, and that is, as I mentioned at the beginning, the 3D Vista software has a responsive option in this section. This means that for different device, mobile phones, tablets, computers, or laptops, whatever device is displaying your tour, it will act responsively and adjust the available icons to fit that screen. However, for mobile devices, since their dimensions are different, desktops generally have landscape rectangular dimensions, while mobiles have portrait rectangular dimensions. The 3D Vista software provides dual skin capabilities. This allows you to create two designs simultaneously. That means first, design the poster for the general's face for desktop or tablet devices, and then customize it for mobile devices and redesign it for them. Well, there is a section for this in our general section, mobile scale. You can change the scale, well, increase it, decrease it. Basically, it asks for mobile, by how much should I change the scale of the elements you've designed? Of course, we need to reduce the scale. This value starts from 0 up to 1. If it's set to 1, it means the size of the elements won't change at all. Well, that's not correct. You can't view an element on mobile in exactly the same size as it appears on desktop. It's better to reduce the scale, so I choose a scale of 50% for it and make it a bit larger. For example, 55%, and then I go ahead and create my mobile layout. As I mentioned, I unchecked this last option so I can tell you something else as well. I click done, so my mobile layout gets created. Now pay attention. I haven't included the last option or the settings option yet. We had it in the general settings tab, but we don't have it in the mobile tab. I didn't want to have it, but now I've decided to add it as well. All I need to do is come here, select this setting, drag it, and drop it onto this mobile skin section. Now in the mobile view, I also have this settings section. And here, once again, I have to start customizing each of these from scratch, one by one. The best thing to do is to export my own tour. I should put it on my own website, then connect to that website with my phone, look at it, note down all the issues and the places that need to be changed, the dimensions and sizes on paper, and then start working on fixing my mobile layout. In this mobile section, as you can see, another option has been added, which actually is a bit off on the viewer and a little hard to select. By clicking on that, you can also design your layout for the mobile landscape mode. You can have a unique design. For example, open the contact option to see how it looks in landscape mode, then change it and see how it appears in portrait mode. Make sure to optimize your design so that your virtual tour works properly in both modes. That is, for example, these buttons should be visible in both modes. This text should be readable in both modes, or this image should be properly visible in both modes. As you can see now, in this mode, half of this image is not visible. So you need to adjust your text a bit, change its dimensions so that the image is also visible in portrait mode. So everything we mentioned in the general section also applies to the mobile section, and you need to redesign it again. But here you're not supposed to create a completely new design. We're not going to change the links, only the dimensions and sizes need to be adjusted so that they fit the mobile phone screen. In this section you can also select different mobile phones, and based on those meaning, if you have a specific mobile phone in mind, you can optimize your design according to that particular device. Well, the topic of template or theme design is almost finished here, and now I want to export this virtual tour and upload it to my website. To do this, I need to go back to the Publish tab, and there are a few more things I'd like to explain to you. In the Publish tab, we had a page called the Loading tab page, which I haven't mentioned yet, and I want to talk about it here. In this section, we can configure the settings for the loading page. Actually, the loading page is the page that is shown at the beginning of the virtual tour, and before the user sees your virtual tour while your virtual tour is loading in the background, they see this page. Here you can display different messages, add images, and you can even include links. And the progress bar that appears while the panoramas of the virtual tour are loading, you can edit that here in this section. I'll go through these one by one from top to bottom. Let me show you. First of all, with this option, you can enter a text or message here. For example, welcome. Now I'll write a very simple text here just so you can see how it looks. And you can adjust the font size and other settings for it. Or you can even add an image. You can place your own logo or the client's logo here. This is how you add the logo here. You can make it full screen. You can also just center it. All right. In this section, for example, you can write a message. Please be patient while loading is in progress. For example, please be patient. 3 dots. And you can even add a GIF, meaning you can add animated images. You can even add a video here, though I don't recommend it. Usually, videos make the virtual tour heavy and cause some loading issues. Of course, you can put a welcome video here so that it loads in the background of your tour. For example, if we add a video here, then a series of other options will become available to you, such as when your tour should start. Should it start after the video ends, or should the video close and the tour start as soon as the tour loads? I won't go into that further. You can test that yourself. I want to actually insert this GIF here, the animated images saved in GIF format, and place it in this section. When your tour opens, this will start spinning, and let me put it here since its background is also white. Then you make it a bit bigger so it can be seen. It starts spinning and shows that something is loading in the background, and you can change the background color in this section. Using this eyedropper, it's generally much better to consistently keep the background color pure white, especially since the existing background of this particular GIF is already a pristine white. Therefore, it's better to simply leave it as a clean, bright white, and that's essentially all there is to it. In this section, you can choose when your virtual tour should start playing. On ready means your tour will start playing as soon as it's ready, or on click means it will only play when the user clicks, or on click and video finish means it will wait for any video the user might have added to finish before starting the tour. I prefer to set it to on ready. That means as soon as it loads in the background, my tour will start playing immediately. And this enable audio video option basically says whether when you have audio or video, the play button should be shown, or whether the video window itself should be displayed and played. We'll choose the video window option. Edit progress bar. As I mentioned, the progress bar or the loading bar that appears at the bottom for loading panoramas can be configured here. In this section, we set the background, and in this part, we adjust the progress bar itself. For example, I'll change its color to red so you can see the difference, and that's it. Now I'll go ahead and preview my tour so you can see this part as well. As you can see, since I'm loading it on localhost, it loads very quickly. On the internet, it usually takes a bit longer for this page to load. You can write other messages here like welcome or anything else, or you can even insert an image here. So that's the design of the loading page. And another feature that Try200 software provides for us, which by the way is available in the newer versions. In the older versions, it wasn't possible to export in multiple languages, but in the new version I'm showing you here, there's an option for that. In the Publish tab, there's an option called Language, and by selecting it, you can translate your tour's content into another language, allowing you to have a tour in 2 languages. However, I'll try to present the language switching feature to you in a separate video so that this one doesn't get too long. We'll wrap up this video here, God willing. In the next videos, I'll also explain to you how to create a virtual tour in 2 languages. Let's go ahead and export this tour and wrap up this topic. As I mentioned before, it's always better to select the optimized option. We want to export it for the web. We'll also set an icon for this section, which must be square and have at least a 512 by 512 resolution. I'll place it here as well and select the folder where it's going to be published. I select the publish folder and click on the publish option. It takes a little while for my virtual tour to be published. Alright, my virtual tour is ready. Its contents have been placed in this publish folder. Now I need to upload this content to my website. For this purpose, I'm going to use the FileZilla software. I connect to my host, and in this way, I create a new directory in the location I want. Test. I confirm it, and then upload the created files. I upload them to my website. Depending on the internet speed, these files have a size of 21 megabytes. It takes a bit of time for these files to be uploaded to the website. After the upload is complete, God willing, I'll come back in the next session and show you the uploaded content on the website, both on the mobile page and on the desktop page, so that you can see the differences and learn how to improve your designs after you've made your first release on your personal website. Thank you very much, my dear friends, for graciously staying with me up to this particular point in our session. Until the next time we meet for our next session, I wholeheartedly entrust each and every one of you to the benevolent care of the Almighty God.